At the sensational Menendez brothers murder trial in California, the jury is now hearing from friends and relatives of the defendants. Jody Baskerville of KCBS TV reports on the latest testimony.
Lyle Menendez testified he told his best friend, Donovan Goudreau, about the alleged sexual abuse by his father, Jose, just 3 months before his parents were killed. But when Goudreau got back on the witness stand, he contradicted Lyle's testimony.
Did he say anything to you about his father having molested both him and his brother?
No, I would have remembered that.
But then defense attorney Jill Lansing played an audio tape of an interview Donovan Goudreau did with author Robert Rand last year.
I guess maybe one of the reasons we were friends is because we had so much in common with this where we suffered, experience, and then to bring this into the relationship as far as an experience that we both shared that we'd never spoken to or about to anybody.
So basically, he said that his father had been abusing Eric.
Yeah, him and Eric, and
Lyle also.
yeah, and we take bats and stuff.
After he listened to the tape recording, Donovan Goudreau said he didn't remember whether what he said during that interview was the truth or not. Jody Baskerville for CBS News.
Also in Los Angeles, the prosecution is wrapping up its case in the Menendez brothers murder trial. Yesterday, Eric, the younger of the two brothers who admit to killing their parents, was on the witness stand where he was grilled about his claim that the murders followed years of sexual abuse. KCBS TV reporter Jody Baskerville has the story.
According to Eric Menendez, the death of his father ended 12 years of sexual abuse. According to the prosecution, the alleged abuse is all part of a scheme to escape the gas chamber.
Are there any witnesses to this molestation?
Was anyone in the room?
Yes.
No.
In fact, the only person that could deny or contest your claim is your father, correct?
My father and my mother.
And both of them are dead, correct?
Yes.
Prosecutor Lester Kuriyama tried to wear down his witness by repeating the same questions, but it wasn't long before Judge Weisberg simply had enough.
As far as the repetitive nature of the examination, Mr. Kuriyama, let's see if we can avoid that. There's certainly a permissible scope of that during cross-examination, but you are getting, in certain areas, to repetitive questioning that is unduly time-consuming, so let's see if we can speed it up a little bit.
For the second time, the cross-examination of Eric Menendez was interrupted by illness. Both prosecutors have the flu. Tomorrow is expected to be Eric's last day on the stand. Jody Baskerville for CBS News.
No.
Why did you kill your parents?
Because we were afraid.
Do you have a lot of nice memories from...
Mr. Menendez, during the summer of 1989, were you being sexually molested by your father?
Yes.
And when did that begin? How old were you?
I was 6 years old.
Now, you have seen...
And he would show me, and he would fondle me, and he would ask me to do the same with him, and I would touch him, and we would undress.
One and the other. Oh, I thought they were going to kill us, but I thought Dad was going to have sex, and there wasn't any doubt about it in my mind.
We fired lots of, many times, and there were just glass, and you could hear things breaking, and you could hear the ringing noises from the booms, and
Do you know if you lined up directly with that second figure or if you were off to the side?
I don't know. I don't know. I just walked into the room, I just started firing, and I don't know. I didn't think about these things. I didn't think, where was this, where was that? I just started firing.
I ran around and shot my mom.
Where did you shoot her?
I just reached over and I shot her close. Could see sort of behind my dad, really barely, but could see somebody moving, seemed like moving in the direction of where my brother should be. And so I reloaded.
You reloaded? Is that yes?
Yes.
Ran away from the center,
So you were 2 feet away from the edge of the coffee table?
the edge of the center.
So say this is the coffee table.
Yes,
You're 2 feet back from it.
yes.
And that's where you were, you say you ended up?
Yes.
And were you farther away before that point?
Excuse me?
You say you ended up there.
Yes.
Where were you coming from? What direction?
Occurred and state of mind of
To a hushed courtroom, 25-year-old Lyle Menendez gave his first public account of that summer night in 1989 when his parents were shotgunned to death.
I ran upstairs to tell my brother that it was happening now and that they were going to, this was it, and they were going to kill us. And at some point I said, I'm going to get my gun. And he said he would get his gun. And
It was kill or be killed, Menendez testified, saying that he and his younger brother Eric had threatened to go public about years of alleged sexual abuse at the hands of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez. Lyle and Eric decided to strike before their parents could, attacking them in the den of their Beverly Hills mansion.
we fired lots of, many, many times, and there were just glass, and you could hear things breaking, and you could hear the ringing noises from the booms, and there was the smoke from the guns, and it was basically just chaos, and I really...
Prosecutors say the brothers killed their parents out of greed for the family's $14 million fortune. But the defense contends that after years of sexual, psychological, and physical abuse by both parents, the killing was an act of self-defense.
I ran around and shot my mom.
Where did you shoot her?
I just reached over and I shot her close.
Legal scholars say this self-defense defense is extremely difficult to prove, especially since the brothers were young adults when they murdered their parents 4 years ago.
If they should testify that they were facing an imminent threat that very evening of serious bodily harm, then, if the jury believes that, self-defense would be appropriate.
Eric Menendez has yet to testify in this trial, which is expected to last until Thanksgiving. Unless they can convince the jury they were potential victims, the brothers could be sentenced to death if convicted in the slaying of their parents. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
On August 20th, 1989, Lyle and Eric Menendez killed their parents.
That's about the only undisputed fact in this sensational case. The Menendez brothers admit they murdered their wealthy parents, Jose and Kitty, surprised them and shotgunned them to death at the family mansion. Their defense? They were fighting back after years of abuse, including
Repeated acts of forcible oral copulation, sodomy,
and rape and the intentional infliction of pain by the use of foreign objects.
The Menendez boys are using what's come to be known as the battered child defense, saying they are no different than a battered woman who kills a violent husband out of fear for her safety. But with children, proving that is trickier.
They're going to have to be able to demonstrate, it seems to me, some form of physical abuse, the scars or remnants of which may be long since past.
The battered child defense has been used in some form in more than 15 states, with mixed results. In Texas, a 17-year-old girl who said her father sexually and physically abused her shot him to death and was acquitted. But in Indiana, a boy who killed his parents with an axe was not allowed to claim self-defense, and he was convicted.
People who kill their parents now are not seen as they used to be 10 or 15 years ago as being crazy or just being evil, the evil seed. Now there's a rhyme and a reason to it, just like with battered women.
But while the battered woman defense has gained acceptance in recent years, children who kill their parents are having less success in court.
The overwhelming majority result in guilty verdicts, so the juries are not accepting it.
In the Menendez case, the DA believes the boys killed their parents out of greed for their inheritance.
This was almost the perfect murder.
After months more of testimony, this may be the latest test of the law. Should children who say they've lived through hell be forgiven for committing the ultimate crime? Bill Lagatuda, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Not many Hollywood murder mysteries ever took a more dramatic turn than police are describing in a couple of savage Beverly Hills killings. The victims were a man and his wife. He helped finance such movie hits as Rambo, First Blood, Part 2, and Red Heat. The alleged killers are, well, let Jerry Bowen tell you about it.
It had all the signs of a mafia hit when Beverly Hills police were called to the Menendez mansion that cool night last summer.
I've been in this business for over 33 years, and I've heard of very few murders that were more savage than this one was.
No signs of a break-in or a burglary, only the bodies of entertainment executive Jose Menendez and his wife Kitty in the family TV room, torn by shotgun blasts that one of the neighbor kids heard.
It sounded like pop, 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 pop.
Their college-age sons, 19-year-old Eric and 22-year-old Lyle, said they found the bodies after a night at the movies. But new evidence, ranging from records of the family psychologist to a movie script about a rich kid who kills his parents, now indicates the brothers did it.
We were waiting for the glue, if you will, to bind it all together. And just recently that glue has come about, and I feel that we have a very tight case indeed.
Police arrested Lyle at the family mansion yesterday. Younger brother Eric's reportedly returning from an overseas trip to surrender. And like the script Eric once wrote and his mother typed for him, police say the motive was apparently money, a $14 million inheritance to be shared by the brothers. An erased computer record about a will suggests the father was about to make a change. A mob hit over some shady movie deal, say police, is pure fantasy. But it's all the boy's grandmother wants to believe.
In the mafia. This is too much money. I think this is my opinion.
Both brothers may be arraigned on charges as early as Monday. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Beverly Hills.
I do not remember the exact date.
It is an answer given time and time again by witness Jamie Pisarcik during cross-examination. The former fiancé of Lyle Menendez is a rebuttal witness for the prosecution. A witness defense attorneys are out to discredit, even asking her about her knowledge of Lyle's hairpiece.
I know that Lyle had several different type of mechanisms to attach his hair.
On Monday during direct examination, Pisarcik testified that Eric knew about Lyle's hairpiece well before they killed their parents. Said Eric talked about the hairpiece during one of her visits to the Menendez home. A hairpiece she says Lyle got in spring of 1987.
I believe that is the time that he got it. It could have been the summer, but I believed, as I remember it, to be the spring.
Do you believe right now, Ms. Pisarcik, that I'm in possession of records that show it couldn't have been in the spring? Is that why you're backing off your answer?
Objection argumentative, Your Honor.
Sustained.
And on redirect examination,
when you had this conversation with Eric Menendez, did you know that over 4 years later you were going to be cross-examined extensively about it?
Objection, Your Honor. It's irrelevant.
No, I did not.
At the time you had the conversation with Eric Menendez, was there anything about it that made you think you should go run and write it down for later reference?
Objection, Your Honor. This is leading and argumentative.
No, I did not.
At the time that you had this conversation with Eric Menendez, did you know that your boyfriend was going to end up in a murder trial involving his parents?
No, I certainly did not.
Throughout the questions by defense attorneys and the prosecution, the witness maintained her composure.
Muerte a sus padres mientras estaban en la sala de su lujosa residencia. A sus padres, Eric y Lyle, confesaron a su psiquiatra haber el caso de Reginald Denny y Rodney King. Los hermanos Menendez, dos acaudalados hermanos, está a punto de ser anulado por el juez Stanley Weisberg. Luego de un receso forzado debido al temblor, el jurado de 12 miembros sigue deliberando en un salón temporal, pero no ha llegado a un veredicto en ninguno de los tres casos. Las declaraciones en las que testigos aseguran que los acusados compraron hables de homicidio en primer grado, Eric y Lyle terminarán sus días en la cámara de gas.